Hi, I'm Karen Mashers and welcome to the Coastal Kitchen. Today we're having a wonderful Mediterranean menu. We're going to start with our limoncello cake. Then we're going to make a wonderful cucumber salad. We're going to have bruschetta chicken and orzo with asparagus tips. So let's get started. We're going to start this with plain yogurt. Don't want any flavors in it, just plain yogurt, and we're using a cup of that. Good cup, and get that all out. Okay, we're starting with our wet ingredients, so we're adding 1/3 cup of canola oil. We're just going to stir that in a second, and we're going to put in 2 eggs. I'm going to put in one at a time. Just beat that in and get that all mixed together. Now, it's a limoncello cake. It is light, and limoncello gives it a sort of a flowery flavor. This is a liqueur that I use when I want to intensify the flavor. If you don't want to use limoncello, you can try substituting lemon juice in the same amount. And we're using 1/4 cup. And we're going to put in some sugar. That's the only dry ingredient that goes in this mixture. And of course, to bring out the sweetness, we're going to put in a pinch of salt. All right, now it's time for the lemon juice. We're going to use the juice of 2 lemons and the zest of both lemons also. So 2 tablespoons lemon juice. All right, that's good. We're going to give that a stir. Okay, we're going to let that set just a minute while we zest our lemon. And I've got a lemon zester here, so 2 tablespoons, and just make sure you don't get the white pith. Okay. That's good, and we're going to save those lemons. Let's give this another stir. And now we're ready to do our dry ingredients. I've got 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, I've got 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Let's just throw that in. And 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. And we're just going to whisk that together. This is a real easy recipe. All right, gonna make a little well in the center. Let me grab this too. Now, just a little pinch of salt in here, and we are going to incorporate our dry into our wet. And what I want you to do is just take about 1/3 of the mixture and pour it in the bowl and start mixing. All right, the second third. And the final third. And you can see it's a little bit of a thick batter. That just makes a nice, dense, moist cake. So let me get my pan. I'm using an 8-inch pan. You can use a regular baking pan. And we are going to get this in. Make sure you take your whisk and get all those lemon pieces off. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pour in. All right, now just take your cake, tap it down a little bit, and I'm gonna take a little spreader, just spread it so it's nice and even on the top. Now this is supposed to be a rustic cake, so don't worry if the top cracks, okay? It's gonna go into a 350 oven, about 35 minutes, just depending on what your oven bakes like. So let's put it on the middle rack, and we'll let that go for about 35, maybe 40 minutes. And I'll be right back after we have a word from our sponsors to make our cucumber salad.
How Mom plus Charlotte Electric plus Maytag equals one legendary apple pie. It begins with the finest ingredients kept Maytag fresh. Then, Maytag's precise baking means the flakiest, tastiest crust ever. Finally, her ultra-quiet Maytag dishwasher makes cleanup ultra easy. Mom, apple pie, and Maytag. Dependably yours at Charlotte Electric Stores.
Welcome back. I'm getting ready to do the cucumber salad, and I've already cut up one of my English cucumbers. Just rinse the top, dry them off, cut the ends off, and if you want to, you can use a fork to scrape down the sides, but on this salad, I like to peel. So I'm just gonna do a nice peel. That doesn't take too long. Let's throw this away. And I'm going to cut this in half. Then I'm going to cut it in half again. Great thing about these cucumbers are they're supposed to be easy on the digestion. All right, cut them in half one more time. And now I'm gonna cut them in bite-sized pieces, a little bit larger than you'd cut for a salad. You want a nice chunk. And we're just gonna throw those in the bowl. This is such an easy salad. It's light and refreshing. And you can serve it with more than Mediterranean things. All right. Only takes just a few minutes to get that done. Now, I'm gonna put in some apple cider vinegar. Just pour that right over the top. And now I'm gonna pour a little bit of water over the top, about 1/4 of a cup. And let me grab my salt and pepper. And I'm gonna put nice bit of each. The salt will bring out the flavor of the cucumber, bring a little bit more water to it. And we're just gonna stir. Just turn it over a couple of times. If you like, you can make it your way. Add a little bit of dill. You can put a little bit of oregano to bring out some Mediterranean flavor. But I like it just like this. Okay, I'm gonna cover this, put this in the fridge, and let that get nice and cold for our main meal. Just a little bit more salt, and we're ready to go. Well, that's in the fridge, so let's start on our bruschetta chicken. The first thing I'm gonna do is cut some Roma tomatoes. And I'm just taking the end off, and I'm gonna slice it in half. And my trusty grapefruit spoon that does better than a knife, I'm gonna take all the seeds out. So just pull those right out, throw that away. And we're gonna slice this up into nice small pieces. And what I'm gonna do is flatten this out just a little bit to make it an easy cut. And here we go. Just turn it this way. Nice small dice. Put that in our bowl. And I'm using 2 tomatoes for each person. So I've got 8 Roma tomatoes. I want to make enough that I have extra to put on the side of the plate. And I'm gonna keep cutting up tomatoes. All right, nearly done getting this last tomato cut. And as I said, if you've never seen a grapefruit spoon, let me show you this real quick. It's got serrated edges, and that's what makes it cutting through a tomato or anything that you want to seed real easy. So look for one if you don't have them. You might be able to find them in an antique store or even someplace like Habitat. You never know. All right, tomatoes are in, and now I have a Vidalia onion. And this is a medium-sized onion. And all I'm gonna do is make small cuts. I want nice bite-sized pieces of onion also. So we are gonna get this all together and start cutting. All right, let's just break this up just a minute. And you can tell when we stir, it'll all break up. Now, on top of the onion, we're gonna do 2 cloves of garlic. And I like garlic, so I'm gonna use 2 big cloves. If you aren't that fond of garlic, just use 2 small ones or 1. It's to your taste, the way you like it. All right, just gonna cut the ends off here. Give it a smash. And that gets that skin right off. All right, got that all done. And what we're gonna do is just mince this up. Don't want the big chunky flavor of the garlic, just want nice, fresh flavor. All right, this looks like it's just about done. And I'm gonna throw this right on top. Garlic smells so good, I love it, love it, love it. Okay, now basil. Now I'm just gonna break off a couple of those stems. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll this basil up and I'm gonna chiffonade it. And that just means cutting it into really tiny thin strips. And then after I do that, I'm just gonna go across it and cut it a little bit smaller. And this is gonna go in. And you know, you never can have too much basil, so let's just put a little bit more in there. All right, let's see, that's about half of a cup. And that's what I want. And I'm gonna reserve this little bit for garnish. Now, I'm going to take a little salt and pepper. And this is something that I like to do. I like to just put a pinch of sugar in there too. Brings out the sweetness of the tomato. Now, 2 tablespoons of white balsamic. I like to use white balsamic because it doesn't turn everything the brown color. And we're gonna put that right over the top. And let's give that a little stir. This is the bruschetta that'll go on top of the chicken once it comes out of the oven. Nice and fresh. And I'm gonna just pop this in the fridge so we can let this meld and cool together. All right, we've got our bruschetta made for our chicken, so let me put this over here, and we're gonna start on the chicken. Let me get my dish, and I want to take about a tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm just gonna drizzle it in the bottom of my pan. And let me grab a paper towel here. I'm just gonna take the end of a paper towel. I want to get everything on the bottom. Okay. Now, chicken. I've got chicken breasts that are deboned and they are de-skinned, and we're gonna take salt and pepper, and I've got some fresh ground pepper here, and I'm just gonna sprinkle on the top. I like pepper, so I'm gonna do that. Just a little bit of salt. And let's get this. I'm gonna put breast side down first. Let's get a little more pepper on these. A little salt on that side. And we're gonna come in and we're gonna turn these over in about 15 minutes after they've been baking. And I've used a pan that gives me plenty of room for the chicken to cook, because if it's all squashed up together, it doesn't cook as quickly or as evenly. All right. Now this is something that you could use lemon pepper on if you like lemon pepper. And I'm gonna put this right in the oven, 375, and we're gonna let it go for about 20 minutes. We want to make sure that it comes up to 165 internal temperature. I'm gonna clean up for a few minutes and I'll be right back.
At ATMC, it's all about you. So when you build your own bundle at atmc.com, you get exactly the services you want, like blazing fast internet with speeds up to 1 gigabit per second, more than 200 channels of digital cable, unlimited nationwide calling, plus the safest home on the block. At ATMC, you get faster speeds, more choices, and bigger savings, because it's all about you. Build your bundle today with ATMC.
The chicken's been in about 12 minutes, so I'm gonna take that out real fast. We're gonna turn this over, and what I'm gonna do is take a little lemon juice, because to me, lemon juice brightens up the flavor of everything. And I'm just gonna take a little and drizzle it over the top of the chicken. Just a little, give it a little brightness. Okay, now let's get that back in. As I said, 165 temperature internally is what we are looking for. So that's gonna go back in for another 20-25 minutes. All right, let's start on our orzo. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is gonna cut up some asparagus. Let's grab a knife, and with asparagus, the one thing you wanna do is look and see where it naturally breaks. And it's breaking about 1 inch off the stems. So I'm just gonna take about 1 inch off, throw these away, and cut these in bite-sized pieces. And I'm gonna leave this a little bit longer because everybody likes the tips. And that's gonna go right in my bowl. I've got water boiling for my orzo, and let me turn it back on again. Orzo is a pasta that looks like rice, and it's spelled O-R-Z-O, and you can see the grain and consistency. We're gonna cook this for about 10 minutes till it's firm, and then we're gonna add in our asparagus. I'm gonna make sure that I salt the water good, and I've got some Himalayan pink sea salt there, and we're just gonna put that in, give it a little stir, and let that come up to a boil. I'll put the lid on, and we'll be taking that off in about 10 minutes. All right, the orzo has been cooking about 10 minutes, and I'm gonna give it a quick little stir, Now it's time to put my asparagus in. And I am just gonna throw this right in so it gets nice and tender. It'll probably take about 3 minutes at the most. So I'm just gonna stir around. And it's already picked up that beautiful green color. This will come back to boil again. And what I've got to do is I've got to zest a lemon, because we're putting lemon zest in with the Parmesan and lemon juice as soon as the Orzo is drained. So let's get this done real fast, because it only takes a very small amount of time. And in the meantime, just to let you know, I took the cake out of the oven and it's cooling right now. Don't want it to cool too much, so we're gonna go back to the cake in just a minute. Starting to thicken up. All right, this has been cooking for about 3 minutes. The next step is we're taking it off the heat and we are going to strain it. Just want to get any excess water out. Won't take but a second. And this is going to go right back here. Want to keep just a tiny bit of the pasta water. We'll reserve that if we need to loosen this up a little bit. Okay, back in the pot. And now it's time for all the good stuff. We're gonna take some lemon juice. And we're gonna take some butter, about 3 tablespoons. And I have grated some fresh Parmesan cheese. Need about a ½ cup. If you get a little bit more than that, it's okay. Everybody loves cheese, the more the merrier. So this is gonna go right in. And we are going to stir this together and make it nice and creamy. Let's put a little bit of salt and pepper in. Get that flavor up. Turn this heat off. Let me get a bowl real fast, and we are going to finish this up with our lemon zest. Let's grab it real fast. And nice stir. Oh wow, this looks absolutely fabulous. Okay, let's get this in a bowl. All right, now's the time to finish it up. We're gonna get a little bit more cheese just on top. And this is ready to serve. So our chicken will be out in just a minute. While we're waiting, I've got to finish my cake. So this is the finished out of the oven cake. It's still warm. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to poke holes in it. And I've got some long toothpicks. You can use regular ones, but we're gonna put toothpick holes all over the top of the cake because we want the icing to seep down in, and it's gonna go over the sides. Okay, all my holes are poked in. It's time to make the icing. Really easy. Confectionery sugar. 3 tablespoons of limoncello again. And a good tablespoon and a half maybe of lemon juice. And we're just gonna give it a nice whisk. Want it to come out nice and smooth. Okay. Now this is going right over the top. I want that to soak in. And we're gonna let it run down the sides. Now, how easy is that? You can take a little bit off the sides here and just help it to look pretty. Now, the thing that I like to do is I like to take raspberries and put on the top of my cake and decorate it. So what I'm gonna do once this cools completely is I'm gonna decorate it with raspberries. I may even put a little bit of confectionery sugar on the top. Just sprinkle it, and it'll make a beautiful dessert. Okay, we'll be back in just a few minutes after a word from our sponsor, and I'll have everything ready to take care of our chicken bruschetta.
How Mom plus Charlotte Electric plus Maytag equals one legendary apple pie. It begins with the finest ingredients kept Maytag fresh. Then, Maytag's precise baking means the flakiest, tastiest crust ever. Finally, her ultra-quiet Maytag dishwasher makes cleanup ultra easy. Mom, apple pie, and Maytag. Dependably yours at Charlotte Electric Stores.
Okay, let's get this chicken all finished up. I'm hungry. How about you? I've got my chicken on a platter. I poured a little bit of the juice out of the pan right on top, and they have just come out. I'm gonna finish my bruschetta. I'm gonna pour just a little bit lemon juice here, and my capers. The capers are going in now. About 2 tablespoons. Just give it a stir, and that'll sit while we put our goat cheese on top of our chicken. Now, what I'm gonna do is take a nice hunk of goat cheese and I'm gonna put it on the top of each piece of chicken. And I might need to put a little bit more than I'm initially putting because I want it to go all over the top. All right, nice and easy there. Now I'm gonna take my bruschetta, or in Italy, bruschetta, and put some right on the top. And don't mind if it comes over the sides, because we're gonna put some of this right on the side of the plate also. Now, a little bit more basil, just sprinkle a couple little sprigs on each one, put a little bit on the plate, and we are going to take balsamic glaze, which is a thickened form of balsamic vinegar. Just be generous. All right, this is our bruschetta chicken. It's all ready for us to dive into. I'm gonna set everything out and we'll be right back here to show you the finished product.
This is what security video used to look like, and this is HD video monitoring from ATMC Security. Now it's easier than ever to keep tabs on the kids, see when deliveries arrive, and make sure your home is secure. Check in from any device, anywhere. ATMC Security offers remote access, real-time alerts, video monitoring and recording, and more. Combine smart home solutions with 24/7 emergency monitoring for one great low price. ATMC Security. Safeguard your home.
A taste of the Mediterranean. What a wonderful, vibrant meal. The flavors all meld together and the lemon just brings out everything. I have got to try this Orzo. We have had such a good time today and I'm ready to serve lunch. So don't forget, you can get these recipes if you go to Facebook. Just go to the Coastal Kitchen and search for us and you can find all of our recipes and even watch the show. Have a great day. I'm gonna enjoy this wonderful Orzo and asparagus.
This is ATMC TV, your community channel.